It's been a minute since I've been live, Spencer.
Well, the people need you, Ruben. People need to see you. People need to hear from you, man.
No, they need us, buddy. They need us. What's going on? How you been?
I've been good, bro. Just floating through life. Just really, if I'm being real, I've been down on sports since the Cougs lost in the Natty.
Mm,
That one, I've been reeling over that. That's gonna be one of those losses that sticks with me forever. But reason for optimism: we got Rockets in the playoffs, and of course,
yeah.
NFL draft next Thursday, round one. Houston Texans. It's Christmas Day right around the corner, baby.
Yeah, Rockets coming up. Glad to see them in the playoffs. Coach Ime definitely needs to be in running for, Coach of the Year. Astros are showing to be a little feisty. Yeah, but RIP University of Houston, man. They had a great comeback against Duke, and then what they did against Duke, Florida did to them. So tough
Yeah,
one, tough one, tough
that's
one.
gonna
But
be an all timer. It's up there. I'm telling you, bro. That for me is up there with 24 zip. It's probably even
one,
higher than 24 zip in terms of how heartbroken I feel right now.
damn, damn. There was some excitement. I bet Little Woodrow's was packed. We even talked about meeting up, but
Yeah.
let's talk about Spencer, what we are going to be doing. Well, actually, we'll bring that up a little bit later. But I wanted to get your first reactions on the mock draft that I did earlier today on the Bleacher Report Network. So I was with the 31 other content creators, and like I said, Harley looks a little different. Right? He does, right? He does. He does.
Hey, shout out my guy Harley. He is he might be a little bit more well spoken than me, but I got the curls. That's
Dude.
where I got my edge on Harley.
Hey, yeah. Shout out to Harley, the handsome man. Hey, we got Spencer, the handsome man, also. But, so I ended up making a trade in the first round.
Okay.
I went from 25 to 23, and I selected Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out
Okay.
of Texas. I had a feeling that the Minnesota Vikings were trying to look for a left tackle, and which is, an area of need for them, right? They don't have one. We have their left tackle, Cam Robinson. So I knew Minnesota needed one, decided to jump them one pick. They ended up trading out of the first round. Houston Texans walk away with Kelvin Banks.
I'm on board with that. I like that a lot. He's definitely someone I think has potential to be cornerstone franchise left tackle potential. And I even think just looking at his build, I feel like he might even have some potential if you're in a pinch or if you feel good about Titus Howard and Cam Robinson. And I'm a very big believer on the O line. You put your five best guys out there. I think Kelvin Banks has some flexibility. He might be able to play inside in a pinch. I love the pick. I think that's great. My only concern though is I've gotten the vibe. I don't know how you feel,
Mm,
but I've gotten the vibe from Nick Caserio that if any move is to be made, it's going to be going back. I don't feel like this is going to
okay.
be he goes forward unless he's just doing what Nick always does, and that's just misleading everybody.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat where it said that he is the GM that trades up the most in the NFL, and one of the GMs that trades down the least. So Nick Caselli has shown if you want your guy, go get your guy. I mean, in the CJ Stroud draft, everyone was traded up for except for CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Tank Dell. Next year's draft, they traded up for Juice Scruggs. We ended up trading up for Blake Fisher. So trading up is nothing new for the Houston Texans, but I will be ecstatic if Kelvin Banks is there at 25. We'll pick 23. If you want your guy, go get your guy. Guys, we are going to be doing a 3-round mock draft for you guys today. Let me bring up the big board. Okay. I cannot believe that PFF is now trying to charge you, Spencer, along with your subscription.
Criminal.
Dude, insane. Like, come on. We're not that rich, right? Come on. 3 rounds. Here we go. What's your excitement, though, heading into this draft?
Oh, dude, I love the NFL draft. Round one always feels like Christmas Day for me because free agency's fun, but I've always had the belief that a truly elite player never makes it to free agency. So while you can have some exciting moves that you make in free agency where you really move mountains as a franchise and where you really establish your core foundation is the NFL draft. So it feels like Christmas Day. I feel like, singing some Christmas carols and just having a jolly good time until next Thursday, man. It's going to be a good time. I'm very intrigued by what the Texans are going to do.
Yeah, and I heard you got a character that you bring out every once a year, and you were a couple picks ahead of the ESPN channel, man. Can you let us know a little bit about this character? Who is this guy?
So, he doesn't have a name. It's kind of just
Oh,
a persona. If you've ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's the Pepe Sylvia conspiracy theorist. And
I love it.
basically, I have to embody that. And I kind of do it like, yeah, it's a character I definitely play, but there's a lot of legitness to me. And it's like I actually embody him because I am stressed out the entire night of the draft. I'm refreshing Twitter like a madman, trying to find those accounts that are tipping the picks before they're announced. And last year, I was doing so well that like I was ahead of Roger Goodell announcing it on ESPN. We were ahead of it by 2 picks at one point, and we maintained that pretty much all night. So we are doing the same thing again next week. So on Athletically Declined, I got my handle right there in the in my box. Make sure you're subscribed to Athletically Declined if you are if you're watching this on Ruben's channel. Go give us some love over there, and we will be live next Thursday night. Ruben will be hanging out with us for sure. It's going to be a good time, and we will be 2 picks ahead at least. Again, that's going to be my goal. But we will definitely be.
No.
We don't wait for Roger
Spoil
Goodell.
it for me. Don't spoil it for me, dude. I like to hear Roger Goodell. I like to I like to find out with everyone else. So you might have to play that one close to the chest, Spencer.
Oh
But
no, brother. I'm gonna be. It's gonna be for the people. Like I understand, there definitely are people like you out there, and they like
okay.
the authenticity of like
I
hearing
mean,
Roger Goodell.
what's the benefit of finding out, like first before, with everyone else?
I just got to know, man. I
You're a
got to
freak.
know,
You're a
man.
freak.
To me,
Well,
it's not the same as like getting the spoilers of a movie like before you go see it. It's not like that. To
no, it's
me,
worse than that.
no. To me, it's like you get like a synopsis of the book. We still don't know how the players are going to play.
I'll tell you why I'm not a fan of the spoiling, because when we were in attendance for the Derek Stingley draft at the Miller Lite Outdoor Theater, the Canyon Green one got spoiled, and I was like, I would have loved to find out with the crowd who was, the Houston Tech. Panda says she accepts all spoilers. I hope you're not like that with movies and shows, because if there's one thing I hate, man, is when you spoil something good.
Yeah, TV shows, movies, way different story for me. But for NFL draft, I want to know what the pick is. And especially whenever we're doing a live stream, I want to be able to, like, we're talking about, last year we were talking about, like JJ McCarthy being drafted. Meanwhile,
Okay.
they're just now showing Michael Penix walking up to the stage. And we're already 2 picks ahead. And we already talked about Michael Penix. Now we're talking about JJ McCarthy. We just keep the train rolling.
Because I'm using that watching a lot. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, as we move into the 3-round mock draft with 35 people in here, Spencer, let's have our first announcement here. Can you let everyone know what we are doing for round 1, night 1 of the NFL draft?
Yeah. So night 1, if you're in the Houston area, which I assume a lot of you are, come on out to the Dave and Buster's on the Katy Freeway. We are going to be having a huge draft show. It's going to be a ton of fun. We have a lot of guests that are going to be there. We're going to have some giveaways that we're going to be doing. We're going to have pre-draft coverage beginning all the way in the beginning of the day at like 1 p.m. And then our draft show will officially start at 5:30, and we'll break down all the prospects, what we think the rumors are going to be. And then once the draft starts, again, sorry, Ruben, you'll have to stay far away from me because I will be spoiling the picks all night long. So if you would rather watch the picks as they actually are happening, you can tune into the AD stream and we will have you completely up to date with what's happening as it's happening instead of having to wait for Roger Goodell coming up to the podium and making the announcement, we will already have known, we'll already have broken it down, and we're looking ahead to the next pick. So the Athletically Declined YouTube channel is where you can get that at. The stream again will start next Thursday night, 5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m. It will start with, I do believe, me and John Hickman from Locked On Texans. And we'll also have Houston Texans on the stream as well, right before we really get going at 6 o'clock with Spencer, Tyler, and the boys. But looking at here, Spencer, Cameron Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, 1, 2, 3. Would that surprise you? To me, it would not.
Yeah, to me, the only thing I think it's just going to be interesting to see what the Browns do. I thought it was going to be a lock for Abdul Carter if we had talked about this a week ago. There's been so many rumblings lately about them loving Travis Hunter. Andrew Berry, the GM, talking about how they view Travis Hunter as a wide receiver first and then a cornerback second. But to me, I think Abdul Carter is a generational prospect, and I think that makes the most sense for the Browns there.
Dude, in our mock draft today on Bleacher Report, the Raiders fan took Shador Sanders.
Okay, that's
Like
very interesting.
shook up the first round.
Man, here's the thing. I don't hate that. And I think it could be a lot of fun. Vegas, Shador Sanders, that seems like a match made in heaven.
Here's one you're gonna hate. Steelers were on the clock. Not Shador Sanders. Jackson Dart was available. And they went with Milroe out of Alabama.
Okay, you say that. I actually think I prefer Jalen Milroe to Jackson Dart. I like the potential. I'm willing. If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm already assuming. I heard the comments today, but I'm already assuming Aaron Rodgers will be the starter this year. You have Jalen Milroe just sit there, get some seasoning for a year. That should have been what happened with Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. Instead, they threw him into the starting spot. But a guy like that with raw athletic potential, letting him sit for a year and learn under Rodgers, I think that would make a lot of sense. And I just don't see it with Jackson Dart. I'm not going to lie. I just don't think he has it,
Talking to our boy Tyler Jed, he's very high on Jackson Dart.
He is very high on Jackson Dart. And but me and James, we are big Jalen Milroe fans, and we all year long, despite the horrible play at times during the season with Bama, we just kept saying, like, we were quoting Brokeback Mountain a couple times. I just can't quit this guy. I just can't. I just can't quit him, man. I know he looks bad. He's throwing interceptions. He's fumbling the ball, but he's just such a freak athletically. I would happily take him as a stash and hope that he develops kind of prospect.
So that shook up the draft, man. But nice quote there, buddy. All right.
I've never seen that movie, for the record. Never seen it.
Pick 25 for the Houston Texans. Spencer, here's who available. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from the Ohio State. Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Greg Zabel, North Dakota State. Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver, Ohio State. Here's some of the list. More for you, Tyler. Let's give the chat a second to let us know who they would take at pick 25. But what are you thinking here?
Obviously, the two biggest positions of concern for the Texans in the draft: wide receiver, offensive line. I'm going to be honest. I'll wait and hear what the chat says, because two guys I love at both of those spots are there on the board right now. Both of them are Ohio State guys, Josh Simmons and Emeka Ibuka. I would be ecstatic, over the moon, if that was the Texans pick at 25. Either way, whichever one Nick Caserio and company want to go with, they believe in, I will get on board with either of those guys. And maybe even honorable mention to someone like a Luther Burden. I think he could be someone that's electric. But if I'm looking at just the wide receivers on the board, I have Ibuka over Burden. And so to me, if I'm going wide receiver, it's Ibuka. If I'm going O-line, I'm going Simmons.
So with Simmons, there comes the conversation of the injury that he suffered. And this injury has I would say a winning percentage in terms of you don't really come back from this injury. You're not the same player after you have this injury. With Josh Simmons, before he was injured, he was putting up arguably some of the best tackle tape in college football. I think he only had one pressure allowed in 9 snaps. My question though, Spencer, does that take you away from selecting him at pick 25? Because maybe with this injury he's no longer that franchise left tackle, but with some of the cons being, oh, his arms are a little smaller, maybe he could turn out to be a really good guard for you, because that's where some people project him also.
Yeah, it goes back to what I said earlier. Sometimes I believe with the offensive line, just give me your best 5 blockers and put them out there and just figure out what positions make sense. And I'll say this. I was watching this real handsome, smart guy on Bleacher Report the other day that talked about how we could draft for a tackle and not have to start him right away because we have Cam Robinson and Titus Howard. So if he really is still ailing from an injury and he's not fully ready, and maybe that sketches people out a little bit, he could ride some pine for a little bit and contribute when he's needed.
Okay, so some of the chat says the best alignment at 25. We think that's Josh Simmons. Jay says a Mecca if available. If not, I'm gonna take Zabel. Talking about Greg Zabel from North Dakota State. Texans Tangent says Amarian Hampton.
That's an
Running back.
interesting one
Dude,
to me.
how would you feel if the Texans went Amarian Hampton at 25?
Oh man, that would be quite a shocker. It would be. I'll be honest. I wouldn't like that one. I would see what they're trying to do, which is really stock up on offensive weapons, and I think they would be trying to model what we see work for the Detroit Lions. But
Mhm.
I I don't know. To me, drafting a first round running back, we've seen that not work out to me more times than it does work out. Especially most recently, a bust that comes to mind at the end of the first round, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, someone like that. Now, I'm not saying Omarion Hampton is going to end up like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who probably was overdrafted by the Chiefs when that happened, anyways. But Omarion Hampton, when you already have Joe Mixon and he's also under contract for the next 2 seasons, um, I I would like Omarion Hampton. I think he's a good player. I think whoever ends up with him is definitely going to be getting a good player, and I'm going to definitely enjoy him in fantasy football if he goes to a place where he can be the workhorse. But for the Texans, I think I'm out on Omarion Hampton.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if you're going on offense, it either has to be offensive line or wide receiver. So, Spencer, we're going to leave it up to you. Pick 25 for the Houston Texans. Where are you going?
If I have my pick, I think this wide receiver class is deep. There's some guys that I'm going to hope are going to be there in the second round when the Texans pick again. I'm going to get that offensive lineman that we so desperately need. So lock in Josh Simmons for us there, pal.
I don't think Penn is going to like that one. She's not a fan of the injury that he sustained. And hey, those are some valid conversations. But before injury, we're talking about Josh Simmons being a top 10 pick. And with this injury, him being towards the later rounds, I think that's fair value. And
Absolutely.
hey, if he is 100% healthy, the Houston Texans got an absolute steal, and they got their franchise left tackle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, he can sit and wait for a little bit, and then we can bring him on when he's ready. And the other guy that was maybe a little tempting, Greg Zabel,
Okay.
he immediately starting on the interior. I wouldn't mind that at all. My concern with him is the obvious one, playing at North Dakota State. The level of competition he was playing wasn't always the best, but showed up at the Senior Bowl, looked good, and he's got a first round grade for a reason. And I think I even saw, you see that clip the other day of Donald Trump shaking his hand?
Yeah.
He asked the team who the best player was, and Greg Zabel came down because he's the one that's going to go pro.
Yeah, no, Greg Zabel, I think, is going to be a great lineman in this league. All right, here we go. Spencer, round 2. Travion Henderson, running back from the Ohio State. This one does excite me. Jonas Savanea, offensive guard from Arizona. Let's look at who's available at wide receiver.
Yeah, there should be some good names there. Oh, man, well, that's actually a good one right there. I
Kyle
think
Williams out of Washington State's good.
he's been
Jack
flying up
Beck
draft
out of
boards.
TCU is good now. Jack Beck is getting a lot of love. He's projected to go, even before pick 58.
Yeah, the guy I was hoping would be there, I won't lie, it was Jaden Higgins, and I get the feeling he's flying up draft boards. Where did he go? Oh, few
54.
damn, just a couple picks ahead of us. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jaden Higgins. I think there is a little bit of overlap in skill set between him and Nico Collins, but come on, if I could have a Walmart brand of Nico Collins opposite side of Nico Collins, sign me up for that all
Yeah,
day long.
Walmart
I'm
brand's
totally
still
cool with
good.
that. Absolutely.
Yeah, Dr.
Absolutely.
Perky.
But now that he's off the board, we don't get to pick him. So we gotta pivot a little bit.
Mm.
I don't think it's the time to reach for a wide receiver if we don't think either any of those guys that were there, like Kyle Williams, does he excite you at pick 58 in the second
No.
round?
Maybe Trey Harris, not Kyle Williams.
Yeah, I agree with that. So now you're kind of looking at this point, you could go Jonas Savaiinaea. I know that's a guy that you've mentioned in the past that you like a lot in this spot. It would be pretty heavy to just go offensive line back to back, but I think anyone that watched this Houston Texans team last season knows that offensive line was what held this team back from truly contending for a Super Bowl. The defense was Super Bowl caliber. You had, despite injuries at the wide receiver position, you had enough weapons that CJ Stroud had at his disposal to make something happen. He just could not stay upright. So doubling down and going O-line, I don't think I'd hate that. Travion Henderson could be a lot of fun, though. He's drafting a running back in the second round to be your heir apparent to Joe Mixon makes more sense to me than going Omari and Hampton in the first round. So I'm going to give you this pick. I would
Oh.
advocate Henderson or Savaiinaea.
All right, man. If it's me and I'm choosing between the two, I think I'm gonna go with Jonas Savaiinaea, offensive guard out of Arizona. And here's the thing, Spencer. I know it's probably not the sexy pick when Travion Henderson is on the board, but I cannot go another season with CJ Stroud being the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL. And I'm gonna say this as well. If he goes from 2 to 5, 2 to 6, to me, that's still not good. I know it will be an improvement, but that's just because the bar is very, very low. But Jonas Savaiinaea, he's let teams know he wants to be a guard in this league. And hey, you got your, potentially your franchise left tackle of the future and potentially, your right guard of the future.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So pick 79. This is a very open draft board, Ruben. I
Darius
see.
Alexander does excite me.
I won't lie. Alik Ayo looks good to me. I'll be honest with him. Part of the reason why I like him so much is just because of that one viral highlight he has where he mossed on Travis Hunter. That one kind of lives rent free in my head. So if he
Okay.
could do that on Travis Hunter in college, I mean, that should, in theory, project. Analysis off of one play in college is irresponsible. I will acknowledge that. Okay, but we're in the third round. We're drafting for potential. I see it with Alik Ayumanor.
All right, I think that's where we go. Let's go wide receiver. I think CJ Stroud's happy with that.
I agree.
You go guard, wide receiver.
Yeah, and now I think with this pick, depending on how it's going to shake out here, but I think you can't go 4 picks in a row and not add to your defense, even though it is your strength and you feel good about every spot. You feel good about your defensive lineman depth. You
I
feel
don't know.
great about your
Healing Fair
secondary.
Child excites me.
Yeah, your linebackers are in a good spot. I think now you're just going BPA. Who's on your board? Who's high? Maybe you could go a running back here, but I would advocate going whoever your top defensive player is, regardless of position, lock that in here as well. Gunnar Helm's there too. I will say that. I know you're not a Gunnar Helm guy. I am a Gunnar Helm guy. I think he made big plays for Texas all year long. He was someone that they looked to when it was third down and they needed a big play. Gunnar Helm always showed up for them. And who knows? He might get even better when he's not catching balls from Quinn Ewers.
Um, you know, I will lead Gunnar Helm here just because, to your theory, getting the best defensive player on the board. So right here is Barrett Carter, linebacker out of Clemson. Look, I have no doubt that Barrett Carter is going to be good in this league. Maybe if there was an Alfred Collins there, I would have took him. But Gunnar Helm, Wouldn't mind that whatsoever. He was a big time player for
Yo.
Texas. And the tight end, group, Spencer, was very disappointing last year, right? We were excited for Dalton Schultz, gets that big contract, 3 years, 30 mil, doesn't pan out. Cade Stover, we were excited because of the CJ Stroud factor, wasn't really a factor throughout the year. Unfortunately, Brevin Jordan, ACL tear, adding another body in the tight end group does excite me, and Gunnar Helm could potentially be your tight end of the future, man. So, Spencer, if I told you that the Texans ended up with Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from the Ohio State, Jonas Avenaya, offensive guard from Arizona, Alik Ayomanor, wide receiver from Stanford, and Gunnar Hill, tight end out of Texas. So your top 4 picks in the top 100 were all offense. How would you feel?
If I'm giving this a letter grade, just hindsight and being 2020, I'm going to give this an A minus. I like all the players that we got. I think they all project well at the next level. One of the comments probably hit on why I am A minus and not A plus is maybe I'm having a little buyer's remorse now, seeing how the board fell. Maybe we should have gone wide receiver in round 1 and then looked at defense where we got Alik Ayumanor. But again, I still like all of these players. And if this is how the board fell to us, I'd be excited about each one of their prospects in succeeding immediately as soon as they enter the NFL. I think all 4 of these guys could be immediate contributors on different levels, obviously, for the Texans.
So the injury that Gunnar Helm suffered, I think, was a ankle injury, but he powered through it, put on a pretty good showing at the combine. Just Panda said, "See, just displaying his toughness out there." That's why we love Panda. Panda was at the watch party for the playoff games, man. Dude, trying to make Dave and Buster's our official watch party zone is, it's going to be very exciting coming
Yeah,
up.
y'all come out next Thursday, man. We will be out there hanging out, breaking down the draft as it happens. It's going to be a lot of fun. Giveaways and, hey, in between picks, or if you're just there to watch the Texans, go play some games and have some brews and come on back and pick 25 will be ready for you.
Yeah. The food's not that expensive because they want you to worry about the games.
And the
Um,
food's actually a lot
and
better than you would think.
the burgers
That's
are
people
good.
sleep on the Dave and Buster's food.
The burgers are good. The wings are good. Um,
Their
and
apps, bro. Their apps are real good. The
what was the
pretzel
one that,
sticks, bro. Oh my God.
dude, fire? Um, could we announce a guest yet, or should we have them wait for them to show up?
I say we wait. I say
Okay.
we wait. I think I don't know. We just need to get the green light to really start announcing. But it is a week away. It is a
Yeah.
week away.
So
So we'll have some announcements pretty soon, I'm sure.
last time we had a special guest at a Dave and Buster's event, that clip went viral everywhere, where me and Spencer asked Houston legend rapper Paul Wall, when the Houston Texans win a Super Bowl, what song would unite the crowd and have everyone stop what they're doing to rap along. And I said "Wanna Be a Baller" by Little Troy. Paul Wall agreed and said it was indeed "Wanna Be a Baller" by Little Troy. Spencer, were you surprised you said that?
No, I think it was for me. It's that one. Also, Mo City Dawn, but I do understand Mo City Dawn isn't one that's as good of a sing along. That one's just truly like a Houston anthem, in my opinion. And I do believe to be a Houston citizen, like a legit Houston citizen, you should be able to name at least one lyric from Mo City Dawn.
Uh-huh.
I truly believe that should be like Houston citizenship test is you got to name a lyric from Mo City Dawn. But everyone gets down and everyone stops what they're doing anytime you hear "Want to Be a Baller" because everybody knows that chorus because it's so iconic and it's so H-Town. So Paul Wall said it too. Like there's so many you could have chosen from, and Still Tipping. That's another good one he mentioned as well.
Yeah, most said he done was heavy in the comments. Your Yesa on the 25 lighters. It got some love throughout the comments. So, like we're not saying Paul Wall is going to be there during the draft. I'm pretty sure he got some fun things going on. But we're definitely going to have try to have some great guests for you guys because we're trying to take over the city of Houston, man.
That's right. That's right. We're trying to be Barstool, but H-Town.
Yeah, shout out to Barstool. They got a good thing going on, dude. I was watching their 60,000 mini golf tournament,
Dude, that was good.
and if we could do anything like that, like we're living the
Oh,
dream.
dude. Well, there. I promise you, there would be that level of competitive, bad blood would be there. I
Yeah, it
promise you.
would be there.
Oh, I'm a very competitive guy. Now I'm bad at golf, so I might not be as competitive with that. But if I've got a chance to win and talk some smack, oh, buddy, I take it every chance I get.
Okay, let me get a pause on that one. Spencer, 66 people in the chat, man. Can you let them know, where they can find you, all your socials and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, make sure you're subscribed and following Athletically Declined on all of our social medias. That's my primary spot that I'm posting and making my content. We cover all sports. I definitely favor my Houston biases a lot, but we talk all sports. You can also follow me specifically on Instagram at Mr. Fantasy FF. During the football season, I'm making all kinds of fantasy football content. Right now, talking a lot of basketball. In fact, tonight we are doing at 10 p.m. We are doing our Batty on the Boards playoff preview for the NBA. So, tune in if you're a basketball fan. You can hear us talk a little NBA action. Again, Rockets, like we talked at the beginning of the show, Rockets are in the dance, man. And so we will break down that series and more. And on X, I'm at Roland Nolan. And I don't really have content I post there, but I be tweeting my thoughts and my feelings. So you can follow me there as well.
Your thoughts and your feelings. What have you been feeling lately?
Oh,
What's a
man.
hot take? What's a Spencer hot take?
Spencer, hot take. I'll give you one. I said last night it's a draft related take. I believe we will have 4 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Now, I'm not saying I
Oh,
would draft 4 quarterbacks in the first round, but I believe Ward, Sanders, Dart, and Milrow all go in the first round.
that would be shocking.
That's my hot take. That's my bold take a week out from the draft. We got 4 quarterbacks going round 1.
Mm. Oh, H-Town Red. Look forward to meeting everyone at the draft. Hey,
Hey,
we already
come
got
through, bro.
someone in attendance. H-Town Red, dude.
Let's go.
Listen, I would love to shake your hand, love to drink a beer with you, man. During the watch parties, man, and you could ask Panda, who Panda's in the chat. Dude, we had 300 people there, Spencer. And that was like without like really a lot of planning. It's only up from here.
That's it. And we're doing big things to the damn moon.
To the damn moon. And if that Super Bowl plan does come to fruition, oh my God. Oh my God. Then things are going to get real crazy. But H-Town Red, we definitely look forward to seeing you there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm pretty sure me and Spencer will do one of these before Thursday because we're just 7 days away. Before we go, Spencer, I know you already gave all your socials and everything. Anything for the people, the 67 people watching us?
Hey, just make sure if you're in the Houston area and you don't have any plans for the NFL draft next Thursday night, Dave and Buster's on the Katy Freeway. They just did a massive grand reopening and we were in attendance for that. We will be out there. We will be doing our live stream for the NFL draft there. We will be giving you all the picks as they happen, and we will not be waiting for Roger Goodell. So you want to be tuned in. I promise you, our stream will be more entertaining, more insightful than they do on ESPN. And we're doing it on like a 10th of the budget, if that, probably even less than that. But I promise you, we talk about what matters, and that's ball.
Hey, and when I'm on there, we're going to be lit.
That's right.
A great time.
Oh, that is a given, brother. That is a given.
All right, 68 people here. Love you guys. Have a real blessed one. I will probably be live again tomorrow and probably doing another mock draft with Harley or someone else. Guys, do me a favor. Have a real